Hello, Jacob here. And, well, figure I'd jump on and sort of do my Vikings recap slash what to look forward to in 2020 and beyond video. So, without further ado, let's get into it. So, yeah, the Vikings ended the year at 10-6 in the regular season and 1-1 in the playoffs. So, if you want to do the math, 11-7 total. And, yeah, I mean, the Vikings, Kirk Cousins showed a lot of improvement. Our running game looked solid. You know, Dalvin Cook looked outstanding when he was in, but then again, injuries also hurt him and our offense. Adam Thielen looked pretty good when he was in, but again, injuries. Stephon Diggs, oh boy. Are we going to have a potential, like, Percy Harvin situation again, or frickin' like, Randy Moss issue, where the receiver just divas his way out of town, whether it be due to disagreements in the front office or just overall not happy with the lack of the ball coming to him? I don't know, but that'll be something to look for in the future, especially because he just signed a big contract here not too long ago. And, yeah. So, I mean, overall, the offense definitely improved. But there still is more improvement that needs to be made, in my opinion. Like, we need to address the offensive line yet again. Because, well, Spielman's lack of actually, taking care of that position has pretty much come back to bite us in the ass more than once. And also, what is it with the Vikings really ignoring offensive line? I mean, not even just in this regime, but in past regimes too. Like, the Leslie Frazier era, like the even the Mike Tice era. It's just, there's been too many times where the offensive line has either been neglected or just tried to be fixed way too late. Really past the point of no return. And, frankly, it gets a little annoying when it's the same issues year in and year out that need to be changed, yet no one changes them. At least the Vikings addressed it this year, like picking up Bradbury. But again, with the Vikings drafting later in the first round, we'll wait and see how that all turns out. And kind of like what players come out and all that stuff to kind of see what position of need we should go for. Because as I said before, for the offense, I would have to say the offensive line is the big one. Now on to the defense. Yikes. Yikes, 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 yikes. That's secondary. That secondary is... I think it's finally starting to get to the point where the secondary has been the crutch of the defense for too long and it's finally affecting us. Like, well, let's just say we couldn't stop hardly anybody this year on the secondary. Rhodes looks slow, angry, and injured. So, pretty much going to have to say deuces to Rhodes there. Trey Waynes probably won't be back. Harrison Smith didn't quite look up to snuff this year, even though he still looked amazing. I just think, again, the problem is he's trying to literally be the defensive anchor at this point. Eric Kendricks, though. Eric Kendricks looks like just an absolute stud, like I figure he would be, and a lot of Vikings fans figure he would be. And, yeah, so that's primarily the defense. And like I say, positions of need in the defense are cornerback depth, safety depth, because Jaron Kearse is probably also... I don't know what to think with him. Mac Alexander could potentially walk. I mean, Anthony Harris is probably going to require a pretty big payday. Maybe do we look at some more defensive ends? Because Is this the end for Everson Griffin? I really don't know. I hope not, but at the same time, I wouldn't be surprised because this would be very, very, very similar to when Everson Griffin took over for Jared Allen when we let Allen go back in 2014. Going into the 2014 season, I should say. Yeah, thankfully, our kicking game is better and is back. So it's kind of nice to see Dan Bailey and Britton Colquitt finally, gelling together to at least help stabilize that. So, that's always a nice thing. However, though, we could really use some more flashier returners again. Because, no offense to, Amir Abdullah and those guys. I mean, as much as I love, having the guys starting at the 25-yard line, it'd be kind of nice to actually have legit, threats returning again. And also, I just don't know about Mike Hughes either with his injury history. Well, let's just say 2020 is going to be the make or break year. Because after that, Cousins' contract is up. Zimmer's contract will be up. Spielman's contract will be up. Don't be surprised if after 2020, this Vikings team looks a lot different going into 2021. Because all I'm going to say is, if the Vikings don't get their shit together, they don't make a deep playoff run next year, and show that we can, show up and ball out with this crew and at least make the championship game. At least look competent in the playoffs. Because last 2 playoff losses have been blowouts. The team looked disinterested. Frankly, things have got to change. But, like I say, I will cross that bridge when we get to it. It's just frustrating to see yet another year of this talent wasted. And now it's getting to the point where the talent is starting to leak out and finally, show its age and injury history. Because, again, how many freaking years has the defense been basically carrying this offense and this team to wins? And when they can't, we lose. By the way, Vikings fans piss me off too, just because we're so fucking divided. It's unbelievable. But again, like I say, I've always hinted at that. I'm not gonna, shit on the fan base just because both sides I can see, gutting the whole thing and starting over and rebuilding. But I can also see the guys saying, well, we're right there, so why should we tear it down now? But who knows? Yeah, all I do know is this upcoming year is going to be very, very, very interesting for the future of this team. Because this next season will show whether or not we're in it for the long haul or if we're still got a couple more years with this core to really make a deep Super Bowl push. So yeah, we'll just see, I guess. I mean, there's not much else to really point out here other than let's just see what the Vikings do in the draft and all that stuff to kind of see what direction they plan on going and all that stuff. But yeah, it's just, again, this is the same stuff that always happens to this Vikings team. We're always around that 8-8, 9-7 range. Barely squeak into the playoffs, maybe win a miraculous playoff game, and then just get absolutely bounced. And frankly, it's getting a little old. But at the same time, though, we still have a lot of good core pieces. I don't know. This is one of those times where I think the problem is it's starting to get stale, and eventually, within the next couple of years, it might be time to rebuild again. Or, who knows, we could pull a miracle out of our ass and win the next Super Bowl next year. You never know. So, I'm not going to lose hope yet. I'm just going to continue to see what happens and all that stuff. So, till we meet again, this is Jacob, and have a good day.